Hey guys, it's Nine coming back at you again with another installment of Nine's News Crew, where we kill the rumors. Starting with some news in the Valorant pro scene, M80 has finally announced their Valorant roster, which is to compete in the upcoming Challenger circuit. The previous core of Xander, Nismo, and Koala Noob has stayed together, and joining them now is BCJ, who previously played on the bench of EG last year. But of course, the biggest part of this roster reveal is that we finally have got the official return of Nitro back to the Valorant competitive scene. Nitro, of course, played Pro Valorant a couple years back with 100 Thieves. They were a pretty solid team for the time and won the first ever big Valorant tournament, which of course was First Strike, which occurred in December of 2020. But after the conclusion of the 2021 season, Nitro left 100 Thieves and Valorant entirely to go back to competing in Counter-Strike. He played in Counter-Strike for a while, but officially retired in the middle of 2023. But he has now made a return to Valorant, which has been rumored for quite some time now. Nice to see that it's finally official. I couldn't be more excited. Nitro was definitely one of my favorite players in early Pro Valorant, and it's nice to see he's back where he belongs. Also, really happy to see he decided to join M80 of all rosters. They were a great team last year and were only one BO5 away from winning Ascension and becoming a VCT franchise team, but they of course lost to the Guard, who is now G2. So they're looking to be clear favorites in the Americas region for this upcoming Challenger season with this roster. Also, in the pro scene, we saw that yesterday Leviathan announced that Noswer will no longer be on their starting roster for the upcoming 2024 season. With the organization saying they rather opt for another player for the upcoming season, we have yet to see who exactly that is, but this would seem to confirm a rumor that has been going around for a while now that Leviathan are looking to sign Calm from Evil Geniuses. This would be really exciting as Calm of course is an excellent player, he's a world champion, and I would hate to see his talent get wasted this year in Evil Geniuses. If that signing does go true, Calm to Leviathan, we would probably have to start considering Leviathan as the favorites going into this VCT season. I mean, just look at their team right now. They have King, Tex, and Aspas already. Now, if Calm were to come through with them, you're looking at a pretty nasty roster with a lot of good firepower. As for Valorant game news, we now have proper in-game footage of the new gun that's coming in episode 8, which is the Outlaw. And just safe to say, it looks pretty insane. The fire rate is incredibly fast and it does 140 to the body, which just kills anyone playing with light armor straight up. But it does only hold 2 bullets in the mag with a different reload speed depending if you are loading 1 or 2 bullets. We haven't seen any introduction of new weapons since Valorant's original release 3.5 years ago, so it'll be really interesting to see how the Outlaw shakes up the meta and impacts pro play once it gets into the hands of the best players in the world. Riot have also decided that with the start of episode 8, they're going to be making some significant changes to Killjoy and Deadlock. Starting out with Killjoy, they're making some changes to her turret, reducing the vision radius from 180 degrees to 100 degrees, added a representation of the turret's vision cone on Killjoy's minimap when she's placing the turret, added VFX and updated turret's animation to communicate the turret's new vision radius. Now, this might not seem like much to the average Joe, but this is actually a very huge nerf to Killjoy, because when placing your turret, there are tons of different spots in the games on different maps where you would place a turret that can watch 2 areas completely. The first one I immediately think of is putting it in the link between Garage and Seaside on Haven, and that way it can watch if anyone enters Garage, and it can also watch if anyone enters onto the Seaside, and that just gave you a ton of options for your other teammates to be playing other parts of the map because you have this turret watching so much area. And there are a bunch of different spots in the game like this, but that's the first one that comes to mind. So this is actually a pretty big nerf, and it'll be interesting to see how it plays out now. And of course we had Anders saying, if this is legit, I'm not surprised to finally see it come around. Turret FOV is in my eyes the most potent balance lever that has been pulled yet to help rein in KJ. My only concern is that it may be a case of too directly attacking a part of of her identity, having multi-corridor coverage. That is definitely true. Well, he's saying if this is legit. We know now that it is legit. He was speaking on the rumors that came out a day before it got confirmed. This is definitely not the change I would have done if I was looking to nerf Killjoy if I'm Riot. It's definitely very strong, and of course Riot always has the weirdest timing. As soon as people start playing Cypher, they decide to nerf Killjoy. It always goes that way. This nerf was not needed. Some might say it was still needed, but to me, people were already moving towards Cypher, so it just seems like weird timing to pull this through, and it's pretty big, so we'll have to see how it plays out once people get their hands on it. And also, looking at Deadlock, we also have some pretty big changes. First, on her sonic sensors, they're now recallable in the round. Awesome change. That needed to be something that was in her kit from day one, being able to pick up her trips just like Cypher. And the pickup distance has been increased over double, from 12 meters to 27 meters, meaning you'll just be able to recall them from a very large distance. That is a big buff. Decrease time to concuss once triggered, 1 second to 0.5 seconds, so it will stun enemies caught in it much faster. Decrease time for enemies to destroy sonic sensor once triggered, 0.65 to 0.5, meaning now once you have walked into her trap and you try to shoot it before it concusses you, you even have less time. So these changes just seem to be more aimed at when you walk into her trap, you really will get concussed. There's like no escaping it. Deadlock and her allies can now hear Sonic Center's audio lightly when they are in its area of effect. Okay, and so that's also a nice change. But also, Barrier Mesh E increased the max length barrier mesh walls from 6 to 10 meters, and this is huge. This is almost double. And when you look at the images and video in game, yeah, this is massive. Now this is gonna change things up a lot, especially now I'm certain you'll be able to block off certain corridors without having the core or center of the mesh exposed. And if you didn't know, the way you counter a barrier mesh is you instantly start shooting at its center and you can break it fast. It's just like a sage wall. When someone places a sage wall, you want to shoot it out immediately. That way you can break it faster. If you let the sage wall solidify, it'll take more bullets to break. Barrier mesh works the same way. If you shoot the core as it's deployed, you can break it pretty fast. But now I know for a fact players are going to be putting it in really cheeky spots where it can block off a whole corridor without having that core exposed. So I think this is a pretty massive buff to the barrier mesh, and it's going to be dangerous once it's in game. But of course, maybe I'm, thinking wrong, because we have Baby J, the Sentinel connoisseur. Of course, he had to put his 2 cents on the changes. Allow her ult to capture multi-players. Sensor becomes a tripwire and stuns anyone in range. Boom, Deadlock's meta. These buffs are nothing more than cosmetic, and I definitely disagree. These are not cosmetic. I think these will definitely have some big repercussions once they do enter the game. But Baby J, he's radiant. He's had pro experience. Maybe he knows better than me. And that's it for today's news, guys. And if you want to stay up to date with everything going on in the world of Pro Valorant, be sure to become a part of the news crew by hitting the subscribe button with the bell icon. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Stay safe.